First time we met, it was all about philosophy questions, about life, death, you know, immediately, without a second, it was like that. And at the time, he didn't speak that much of English. So I felt a little frustrated because there was a translator. And I like to have direct contact, of course. And so then in Blue, he was ready. My agent told me actually very recently that he said, you know, if Juliette can't make this movie, I don't want to do it. And that I didn't know, or I didn't remember. So for me, there was a question at a certain moment because Spielberg just asked me for Jurassic Park, and I wanted to work with Spielberg at the same time. I felt so related to Blue somehow. So there was a moment I had to make my decision, and so that was it. When I read the script, you know, I was amazed in a way that he proposed me to play this character because a very close friend of mine had the same kind of story somehow, because she lost her son and husband, not in a car accident, but in different circumstances. And of course, because I helped this friend, you know, try to come back to life somehow, I was completely related to that story because of the friendship I had with this woman. So for me, my preparation was already there. Mainly the rhythm of work would be rehearse, like 5 times, and 1 take. And sometimes he would say, but you haven't done exactly what you did in the rehearsal, right? Why don't you do the same thing as that you did in rehearsal? I say, well, you know, I'm not a robot, you know. Sometimes it's like this and sometimes it's like that. And I say, well, okay. I say, but I can do another take if you want to. So we started on that little, you know, game together. And each time, for each scene, I had to ask for my second take, if it was possible. But it's funny because when there was a technical problem, there was no problem. We would do another take. But then was a human problem, like the actors, you know, not being happy. He didn't pay attention to that because, well, he came from the school in Poland where they didn't have a lot of money. So they have to have it right 1 take. No money to bullshitting, try it again, oh, and what about this, what about that, you know? It was straightforward. That's why he was rehearsing that way, that much. And I think he didn't like the shooting very much because it was depending on so many different things, you know, weather, whatever. So the editing, I don't remember, I got involved with that, so I don't really know. For me, that was his world because he felt like more of the director. He was very straightforward, and it was a very joyful atmosphere. I remember, you know, laughing, and there was a lightness in it, believe it or not, because at the same time it was a very tragic film. Especially the first half, because what Kieslowski told me is that a movie is always going up and down like a mountain. I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, you know, first months everybody's so focused, you know, still with a lot of energy to try and make the good movie, and a month passes and then suddenly, you know, the energy goes down and everybody, you know, they're not focused and people know one another too much, and it's the tensions is not there anymore. And I said to him, no, I've never felt that, you know, and actually it's really what happened. Also, I caught a cold in the middle of it, so half of it was me like suffocating somehow, you know, the second month, and the first month it was the lightness of an achievement somehow. There was a translator on the movie, you know, on the set, and it really got in my way somehow. So I would say that a week after we started filming, I was, you know, talking to him directly, and if, you know, he would speak in Polish and somebody would translate to me, I would answer back in English with him. So, and also we didn't need words that much, because it was beyond words. It was about understanding without words. And it's exactly what happened that the second day of shooting, and I think it's even the first one, the camera was inside of my bed under the sheets, filming with me crying, watching the funerals. And it was literally what he told me. And from that on, he could be as close as he wanted to, in my eye, shooting in my eye. He was allowed, because he said what he wanted, and I understood, and it was like complicity that has no boundaries. In the staircase, when I did one take, and he asked for another one, and I say, what happened? Why it didn't work? Why you didn't like it? What happened in the acting? He couldn't answer. He didn't know how to put words on it. Then a second take, after the second take, I said, so it was good, he was happy with it. And so I asked him, so what was it? Why do you think this one is better than the other one? It took a little while. And then he came back to me like a few minutes later and said, because you breathe differently. What I remember of him mainly, and during the whole time I worked with him and I met him, was his eyes, his blue eyes, and the intensity of them. And a smile, a very gentle smile, human smile. And what I remember of him is the talks about him being pessimistic and me optimistic. So we were like opposites, but yet we could laugh very easily, and that was our way to be together. I miss him tremendously. Probably also because of the potential that we didn't explore enough somehow, and because he was probably because I received a lot of love from him. But it's a love that doesn't go away, it's still in me somehow. So, of course, I miss him, and I'm not the only one. But at the same time, sometimes you just have to accept and live with it, and not cut off your life into pieces. But he's part of my life now.